Everything with the ice is just too much for families. It was like a trauma, you know?
Well, in California, public schools cannot ask students or their parents about the immigration status. And the Oakland Unified School District is collaborating with city leaders and community members to support immigrant families. School leaders say staff members are being trained on what to do in case of ICE activity on school campuses. This is not new for the district. In 2008, they adopted a resolution making them a sanctuary district, a stance they reaffirmed in 2016, weeks after President Trump's first inauguration. This policy ensures the immigration status of students and families remain confidential and provides clear guidelines on how the district manages ICE activity on campuses.
As a school board, we stand in unwavering support of all of our students, families, and staff, regardless of their race, their country of origin, or their immigration status. Every student in our district deserves a safe, welcoming, and nurturing environment in order to be successful.
We also spoke with Richard Marr of the San Francisco Young Republicans. He was at the airport coming back from the inauguration. And while he says he does not agree with the policy, he suggests that reinforcement efforts would likely focus on individuals with criminal records or cartel connections.
I don't think especially California families, Bay Area families in particular, have any reason to be concerned about sending their kids to school. I'm not particularly concerned that going into schools, going into churches is going to happen anytime soon, if at all. And the rhetoric, I think, is more of a bargaining ploy.
Mara also says if people are nervous to go to places like schools, churches, or work, it would provide an incentive for them to not be here. And that might be the right way to deal with illegal immigration. In Southern California, more than 50,000 people remain under evacuation orders in northern Los Angeles County. This as firefighters battle the Hughes fire. That fire broke out late yesterday morning, burned more than 10,000 acres in less than a day. That's about the size of San Rafael. The Hughes fire is burning in the rugged mountains near the town of Castaic. That's about 40 miles from the Palisades and Eaton fires. A red flag warning is in effect until tomorrow morning. But the winds have calmed down enough to allow firefighting planes to make water and retardant drops, helping fire crews establish containment.
We were able to amass a lot of fire resources early on to change what this fire looks like.
We're not dealing with a large population and a large amount of residential homes, as we saw with those two fires. Out here, it's more sparsely populated. However, out here, we are dealing with high winds.
And take a look at just how fast this fire spread. This is not a time lapse. This is in real time. The winds created what looks like a fire tornado. People nearby said they were not waiting around to get to safety.
You can replace your home and belongings, but you can't replace, your loved ones and your pets and stuff. So we decided, don't risk it.
Crews also battling a brush fire that has prompted evacuation orders in parts of Bel Air. The flames broke out just after 11 last night near the 405 freeway. Video shows dozens of fire engines on the roads below while crews use an aerial assault to put out those fires. The flames tore through heavy brush, burning at least 40 acres. The good news, firefighters say they have stopped the forward progress. And people living in the communities destroyed by the Eaton Palisades fires now bracing for rain this weekend. Burn scars could increase the threat of mudslides and floods in the region. Crews are also busy shoring up Pacific Palisades and Altadena ahead of the storm. Sandbags and barriers are being brought in to help keep toxic and hazardous material out of the ocean. A lot of people near the Hughes fire packed up their cars and got out fast. We saw them grab their pets, important papers, and other things they could take in a hurry. All these wildfires are highlighting the need to have your emergency bags ready to go, or even in some cases, ready to stay. Our CJ Nam talked with first responders and a volunteer who are fielding a lot of questions on emergency preparedness.
Randy Kelly is showing us what goes in a stay box filled with essential items like food, water, and medicine. In case disaster strikes, but you can still stay back home.
This water straw is going to filter water because you don't know what the quality of the water is going to be like. You're going to have lots of food.
These stay boxes should be stored in a safe place, readily available with first aid kits and important documents.
Hygiene is a very important thing, right? You're going to have your toilet paper, you're going to have your wipes.
But what if you have to evacuate?
The go bag would be right at my front door.
Randy says everyone should also have their own emergency go bags, filled with essential tools and things like food and water for you and your pets.
Photos of your pets. This is something that's really important because if your pet runs away, how are you going to be able to prove that that's your pet?
This is something Randy teaches as a volunteer with Concord Police's CERT classes, Community Emergency Response Team. The courses are free to the public, educating you how to prepare and respond to natural disasters.
I think as you get older, you start looking outward, and there's just a lot of different things that you can do.
Contra Costa County Wildland Battalion Chief Tom Zerflu says, when preparing a go bag,
prescription medications,
it's important to have supplies that will last at least 3 days, including masks, towels, battery packs, and portable chargers, pet food, and cash.
The interface between the nice vegetation that we have here and the beautiful scenery mixed with the wet, warm weathers, the dry conditions, the high likelihood of fires is great.
With the tragic wildfires in Southern California, Bay Area firefighters want to make sure you are prepared.
We saw down in Southern California, the infrastructure was impacted. There could be lack of drinking water. It could be hard to get to that. The supply chain might be down. So to be able to self-dependent is very important to have.
As for Randy, he says the recent scares, including an earthquake and tsunami warning, serve as a wake-up call.
More and more, I think we're becoming more sensitive, whether it's because we're more aware of it or if the frequency.
And he hopes to encourage families to be better prepared because a stay box and a go bag really do go a long way.
And for a list of supplies you can pack in your go bag, we have set up a link at kpix.com. And a reminder, CBS is partnering with the Red Cross to raise money for wildfire victims. You can go to redcross.org/CBS to donate or call 1-800-RED-CROSS. You can also text Red Cross to 90999. Still ahead on CBS News Bay Area, volunteers out for a second day to count the homeless in Santa Clara County. Now a couple living out of their RV hopes the data gathered could help them find a path out. Plus, the family of a woman who was pushed off a BART platform takes legal action against the transit agency.
What's wrong with BART? Passengers are not safe.
Why they say BART shares some responsibility for her death when we'll ask a legal expert if they have a case. And the power of the ocean threatening homes on the peninsula, how climate change is leading to some tough decisions along the coast.
show you one model real fast. All the way into Saturday morning we go. We start to see just a little bit of circulation with the system pushing offshore actually, with light rain up in the North Bay in the morning hours, some light showers sweeping to the south as we head into the overnight hours that night. So it's important to note that there are some changes as we head into this weekend with that cold front, but these showers aren't going to amount to much. If anything, just light sprinkles here and there, clearing up as we head into Sunday with those cool and cloudy skies, and then we'll ditch the clouds and we'll see sunnier skies as we head into next week. We'll keep you updated on that forecast here in the Weather Center.
Well, in Santa Clara County, today marks the final day of the county's annual point-in-time count of the homeless. This year, leaders are shifting the approach, focusing on areas where homeless people gather rather than a standard street-by-street count. And while this new approach is intended to improve accuracy, homeless advocates do worry it could lead to undercounts and less funding. Veronica Macias explains this change and what it all means.
By using new technology, an app called Counting Us, which is widely used by HUD already, will gather more surveys from people right on the spot. And this gives the county valuable information, they say. So when many people are just living paycheck to paycheck, what was the one thing that forced them out of their home? They want to know. And one couple I met says it was being laid off of work.
The stiffness in her fingers doesn't let Juanita Macias do much. After a brutal cold night in her trailer, they were too weak to even flip a tortilla. Her husband has helped prepare breakfast, warming their trailer during this chilly morning.
I got bad arthritis and my fingers hurt, my back, my legs. Oh, it's just hard. Probably be quiet, you know.
Nino, the couple's small dog, is hiding towards the back. Juanita and Javier Valencia have him for protection. The encampment is full of dogs, giving their owners hope and companionship. The couple says they never imagined themselves living at Columbus Park in San Jose.
Living like this is no, I really don't like it. But I didn't have no other choice, and we have family, but really, the family, no, they don't help us at all.
Working here and there.
After losing his job as a groundskeeper a little more than a year ago, Javier says they've had to rely on Juanita's disability check and food assistance programs. They have to also pay someone $500 just to live in this trailer.
Pues trabajaba en dos trabajos.
Well, I used to have 2 jobs at one point, and we used to have even enough money to save a little. Then I was laid off and my car broke down, so that's where I am at the moment, trying to get work even if I have to get 2 jobs to get us out of here.
The couple is new to Santa Clara County's homeless count, which happens every 2 years. This year, the methodology has changed. Volunteers are going directly to areas where the unhoused concentrate, hoping to gather more surveys. With more information gathered, there's better understanding as to what drives people into these situations, a situation that appears to only worsen, according to homeless advocates.
I'm seeing a lot more structured. I'm seeing a lot more. It just feels like homelessness is a lot more out in the open than it was before. So it just kind of reinvigorates us, I think.
Hopefully, this year will be better.
Because this way is not how she wants to live. No running water, no electricity. She's hoping her participation in the homeless count will help people like her find a path out of these types of RV encampments.
And some homeless advocates say they are not trusting the results of this year's count, so they are waiting to see if this new approach is actually going to provide more data within this 2-day period. In the North Bay, Sonoma State University is cutting its entire athletics program, laying off dozens of faculty and staff and slashing several degree programs, all due to budget problems. On the chopping block, women and gender studies, philosophy, physics, economics, and the English master's degree program. We heard from students that, are just not happy about the change.
They've shot themselves in the foot. It's the WGS department was originally the Women's Studies department, and it started in 1970. It's one of the oldest in California in all of the CSUs. That's incredible. That's a selling point for this school, and they're just cutting it. Well,
the university is hosting a town hall meeting next week with the interim president. And the family of a woman who was pushed onto or into an oncoming BART train in San Francisco last summer has filed a lawsuit. They blame the transit system for failing to protect its riders from violence. Reporter Kara St. Cyr has more on the family's effort to keep something like this from happening again.
Every month, Alvin Dandan would get a call from his aunt Corazon, but it's been 6 months since he's heard her voice.
I can't even describe to you the amount of shock, I would say shock, and sadness.
Corazon was killed on July 1st after police say a homeless man pushed her in front of a BART train during her evening commute from San Francisco to Daly City. The 74-year-old was on her way home from work as a telephone operator at a Union Square hotel. 49-year-old Trevor Belmont was charged with her death. Police records show he had a history of arrests and was banned from BART stations at the time of Corazon's death.
It's tough to describe until you're actually there. It was just, I couldn't talk for like one or a few minutes because it doesn't hit you.
Dandan said his aunt's death is just one example of the violent encounters happening at BART stations. The family filed a wrongful death suit against BART. The complaint includes allegations of elder abuse and dangerous condition of public property.
What's wrong with BART? Passengers are not safe. The whole purpose of BART is for transportation, and the riders are not safe.
This fall, BART touted statistics that showed that overall crime was down 15% in 2024 through the month of August, compared to the same period the previous year. BART has taken steps to reduce crime with the Clean and Safe Act, bolstering security and installing new fare gates. Legal analyst Stephen Clark says those steps may help the agency in this case.
BART is not responsible for all criminal activities that may occur during the services they provide, but at the same time, they need to provide reasonable, safe conditions for their passengers.
Clark says his case really hinges on whether BART knew the alleged killer was banned, and could they have anticipated a violent outburst?
Should BART have taken additional steps to keep this individual from entering the BART premises?
Dandan says he doesn't want his aunt to have died in vain. This lawsuit is just a way to keep that from happening.
We just want, them to make some changes that would make commuting through that train station better for everybody. We don't want it to happen to anybody again.
Well, we reached out to BART for comment, but I have not heard back. The complaint listed several examples of violence on BART, including the stabbing of a woman in November on a train in San Francisco. Still ahead, their coastline is disappearing. Now one peninsula community has some tough decisions to make.
We're looking at hundreds of millions of dollars of losses no matter what we do or don't do.
The solutions to fight erosion, which could include moving homes away from the coast.
there's a little bit of breezier conditions along our shoreline, but on the bright part, it dies down as we head into the afternoon. We're going to see light conditions throughout the afternoon and evening hours tonight, and then we turn the page into the next couple days. We're still expected to see drier than normal conditions, and we talked about this earlier. The Climate Prediction Center is showing that from Southern California down where the fires are at right now, all the way up into our neck of the woods in the Bay. But yet we head into Saturday's forecast, and as this cold front sweeps through heading into this weekend, you'll notice that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there's a slight chance we could see some showers starting up in the North Bay Saturday into the afternoon hours, and then all the way down into the South Bay closer to dinner time hours that night. That'll start to taper off as we head into early next week. But now, as you take a look at the next 7 days, you kind of can see that picture. Today, beautiful, dry, warm. But then once we head into Friday and Saturday and those clouds start rolling in, you can see that in each of these tubes, it's going to be a lot cooler for us and cloudier and a little bit wet at times too for Saturday. And then once we head into Sunday, we hold on tight to that cool weather before we start to average back out into the low 60s heading into early next week. Now we head all the way over into our inland spots, places like the East Bay, the North Bay, all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley. We still have sunshine this afternoon, but those clouds will also impact us too. Heading into Saturday and Sunday, there's those light showers, it clears up, and then we're left with beautiful skies.
Well, on the peninsula, the picturesque surf town of Pacifica is in a tough battle against Mother Nature. Rising tides, more powerful waves are eating away at the coast, and the community will have to take action soon. Our Amanda Harry looks at the solutions on the table, which includes moving people away from the coast.
You know what's really interesting is, you think the seawall is going to stop the waves, but watch what happens when the wave hits the seawall. It goes up and over. So a wall can't stop it.
Coastal engineer Bob Battaglio has called Pacifica home since 1989.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go surfing today.
Over that time, climate change has accelerated a war with the ocean, and the ocean is winning, threatening homes and people's ways of life.
We're looking at hundreds of millions of dollars of losses no matter what we do or don't do.
Battaglio believes the city needs to look at long-term fixes like creating artificial reefs in the water that will help calm the waves.
If you can create a new equilibrium, then the sand, the shoreline just kind of oscillates around this position that's farther out. And then the beaches dissipate the waves before they get to the seawall. So it's like it was, 50 years ago or so.
But Professor of Earth and Planetary Sciences at UC Santa Cruz, Gary Griggs, believes managed retreat is the only feasible option.
There's absolutely nothing we can do over the long run to hold back the Pacific Ocean. Anything we do is really a Band-Aid.
Managed retreat is a concept involving moving people and buildings away from the risk. The California Coastal Commission has proposed moving out willing residents and using public funds to buy out homes. But at this point, the proposal has not come to fruition. 45-year Pacifica resident Mark Stetchbart isn't sure if it should.
Anybody should calculate what their town would look like if you lose 30% of the town.
Stetchbart wants to see the city improve the seawalls.
Well, like I said, put another 2 feet on it, curve it, put some wave breaks on it, and monitor it.
If it's done right, he thinks it can work long term.
So they'll say you can't fight Mother Nature. Well, if you put a roof on your house and maintain it, you stay dry forever. So yeah, you can fight Mother Nature.
2025 could be the year when some decisions are made.
And the sign.
City Council spent one of their last meetings of 2024 discussing the issue. Now the Coastal Commission is reviewing the city's local coastal land use plan. The proposal is still a work in progress, requiring special exemptions under state law. City Council should get feedback on the plan by April or May. Battaglio says regardless of what is decided, he hopes most people will choose to get on board.
I just think we all kind of have to work together and try to get through it.
As waves continue to forcefully crash up against the seawalls, the clock is ticking on maintaining and protecting Pacifica's coastline.
Well, this has been an ongoing battle for Pacifica. The most notable erosion damage happened 15 years ago when the cliffside gave way, forcing the demolition of several apartment buildings. More changes could be coming to a controversial bike lane on the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge. Transit officials are looking to remove the bike and pedestrian lane Monday through Thursday, opening a third lane for traffic in case of crashes or emergencies. The The bike lane is part of a pilot program that started 5 years ago, but there have been complaints that it can cause huge traffic backups if there is ever an accident on the bridge. According to the Metropolitan Transportation Committee, an average 140 cyclists use the bike path per day. The final decision is up to the SFA Conservation and Development Commission. Well, coming up in our next half hour in CBS News Bay Area, decades after a double murder rocked the East Bay, a judge hands a killer his sentence. We hear from the investigator who cracked the case.
For this family, I would 100% do everything. They're like family to me.
And turmoil in the California Senate committee tasked with overseeing the insurance industry. As homeowners deal with a crisis that keeps growing worse, we investigate what's going on and how it could impact the wildfire recovery effort.
But
how
she
common
said,
is it
played
to
out
have
there
appointed
in
a
that
committee
courtroom.
without a chair?
So we're still awaiting to hear from President.
I'm Ryan Yamamoto. This is the Minute. BART service has been restored in the East Bay after a deadly car crash on the tracks. It happened near the Pittsburgh Bay Point station. BART says an SUV plowed through the barriers off Highway 4 around 3:45 this morning. The driver died. The cause of the crash is unclear. The family of a teenager shot and killed by a Sunnyvale police is filing a federal civil rights lawsuit against the city. Police say the 19-year-old was having a mental health crisis. They say the officer opened fire after he walked toward him with a knife and refused orders to put it down. The complaint says he should have used non-lethal force. The DPS says it doesn't comment on pending litigation. And the closure of the Ocean Shore Elementary in Pacifica has been approved. The school district blames a $3.5 million deficit, declining enrollment, and rising costs. Students will be moved to other schools. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. This is The Minute.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
It almost feels like summer as we head outside in certain pockets of the Bay Area today, with upper 60s in the forecast near Oakland and across the beautiful Bay Bridge over into San Francisco. Let's give some love all the way up into the North Bay real fast. Areas like Santa Rosa all the way down into Novato are dealing with upper 60s this afternoon too. And as we make our way down just along Highway 101 into the Santa Clara Valley, we're talking about 70s today in areas like San Jose, Los Gatos, and all throughout the Santa Clara Valley. It'll be a warm one for us this afternoon with a cold front approaching us us heading into our Friday and Saturday forecast, dropping right back down to the 50s around the corner. In the meantime, though, we had some gusty winds earlier this morning near Half Moon Bay and Pacifica. The winds died down widespread throughout the Bay Area as we head into this afternoon. We're left with mild conditions throughout the rest of this week when it comes to light winds. Now, rain chances for the most part stay low as we head into this weekend, but it's important to note some of our models are starting to show a chance of showers as we head into Saturday morning and throughout the afternoon hours. A little bit up in the North Bay around 1 o'clock for Saturday. We'll see that circulation kind of bring in some more showers throughout the rest of the Bay Area into those evening hours. For now, it doesn't look like it's amounting to much, though, which is important to note. Now, also heading into this weekend, not only are we dealing with a light chance of showers and cloudier skies, but those temperatures drop fast. I mean, goodness, look at today compared to Saturday. Upper 60s and 70s today quickly turn into upper 50s as we head into Saturday's forecast. So if you were thinking this little summer stretch was going to continue, that's not the case. And then even heading into next week, we're going to continue to see low 60s in the forecast for us. So a little bit more mild, but also this is where we should be for this time of year. If only we could just have some more rain though, right? Heading into this weekend, we're seeing the exact same setup for our inland areas as well, with upper 50s and lower 60s flirting back and forth with each other all weekend long.
Well, a decades-old cold case has been finally put to rest in the East Bay. Convicted killer David Minch was sentenced for the murders of 2 young women nearly 40 years ago. Andrea Nakano talked to the investigator who finally cracked that case.
This case shook and panicked the Fremont community. Michelle Xavier and Jennifer Dewey were shot and stabbed in February of 1986. Officers from the Fremont Police Department tracked down one lead after another, but it took more than 30 years and one determined investigator to finally bring some closure to the families.
Sergeant Jacob Blass started with the Fremont Police Department 19 years ago. In 2015, he became the cold case specialist and started piecing together the evidence to find the man that murdered 18-year-old Michelle Xavier and 20-year-old Jennifer Dewey.
For this family, I would 100% do everything. They're like family to me.
For 9 years, Sergeant Blass took all the evidence from the initial investigation, including a partial license plate number written on the hand of one of the victims, to uncovering a new key piece of DNA evidence under the victim's fingernails, thanks to improved technology. Even when leads went cold, Sergeant Blass never gave up.
You have to have that tenacity because you know you're working for the family, you're working for the community, because everybody here deserves answers on what happened at that time.
Wednesday, the judge sentenced this man, David Emery Mish, to 2 25 years to life terms. Mish sang during the sentencing phase of the trial and had to be taken out of the courtroom as the families read their statements. It's a loss they will never fully heal from, but there is some relief in knowing the case is over.
There's never any closure when a loved one has passed away, but to at least have some kind of a conclusion to a case that they've been with us on for the whole 40 years. And then, of course, in the court process for the past almost 9 years, it felt really good to be able to sit there and to be with them during that time.
Well, victims of the Southern California firestorm now find themselves victims of price gouging. Thousands of people lost their homes in LA County, and that's created a massive surge in demand for housing. According to Zumper, rental prices soared 42% between December and January, leading to some stiff competition.
They chose a family that was willing to sign a 3-year lease and pay 1 year full in cash over us.
$10,000 deposit. That's fees. Who has that, right? You just had in the back pocket. Oh yeah, here's 10 grand cash.
Well, California's Attorney General charged an LA real estate agent for raising the price of a recent property by 38%. The state's price gouging statute prohibits a price increase of more than 10% on food emergency supplies, hotel rooms, and rental housing in the case of emergency. Several hundred warning letters have been sent to landlords who could spend a year in jail and maybe fined $10,000. However, landlords can get around this law by encouraging bidding wars. And at the state capitol, lawmakers discussed 2 bills that would fund wildfire recovery and rebuilding efforts. Governor Newsom originally called the special session to prepare the state for lawsuits against the Trump administration. And now homeowners all over California could use some help from Sacramento. But when it comes to insurance, it's a bit of a mess at the state capitol right now. Half the Senate Insurance Committee and committee staff are new, and there is no insurance committee chair. To top it off, the most experienced and qualified person to lead this committee is in the middle of the federal corruption investigation. CBS News California investigative correspondent Julie Watts has exclusive information about all of this.
Common ground is hard to come by in California's capital, but State Senator Susan Rubio, a moderate Democrat, is known for finding common ground between Democrats and Republicans. We caught up with her Friday as she watched the Bonita High School choir from her LA County district perform in the Capitol Rotunda. When they were finished, she gave them a bit of a civics lesson. Then we got one of our own.
As a former Senate insurance chair, how concerned should Californians be that we don't currently have a Senate insurance chair and we're facing, the largest insurance disaster in our state's history?
Right now, we're in the process of getting that filled.
Rubio was the Senate Insurance Committee chair for the past 6 years.
The Insurance Committee will come to order.
But as of Wednesday, the Senate Insurance Committee is the only committee in the entire legislature without a chair.
How common is it to have appointed a committee without a chair?
It is unprecedented because normally all the chairs and vice chairs are named at the same time.
Capitol insider and legislative rules expert Chris McCaley explains while the committees won't start meeting to vote on bills for a couple of months, there's a lot to do in the meantime.
There's a tremendous amount of staff time that goes into researching and analyzing different proposals.
And the senior committee staff, known as the principal consultant, is new.
He can also only go so far without a chair.
Senate rules require the president pro tem to appoint committee members based on seniority and experience,
Rubio,
which is relative this year. Roughly a third of the legislature is newly elected. Roughly a quarter have never served in state office before. And half of the insurance committee is new to that committee.
And why aren't you chair this year? Do you say you didn't want to be?
Well, the reality is that this is the largest class that came in.
And when it comes to experience, Senator Rubio has been the state Senate insurance chair for longer than most of the legislature has been in office.
I've been chair for 6 years, and before the wildfire started, I had asked for an opportunity to be on another committee.
But she's also embroiled in a bit of a scandal. Senate leadership says they're waiting to hear from federal prosecutors about whether Senator Rubio is under investigation. She's believed to be person 20, described in this federal bribery plea agreement with Baldwin Park's former city attorney, Robert Tafoya. Rubio used to be on the Baldwin Park City Council. The plea defines person 20 as a local public official who could fire the city attorney and won a primary for a state office in June of 2018. Rubio is the only person who fits the full description.
Are you person 20?
I can't tell you what that person is, but all I know is that, I'm not talking to anyone, and, right now that's just been speculation and innuendo.
So are you saying you're not person 20?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, you read the report and, whatever is happening there is happening there, but I think that people would have to reach out to me in order for me to be part of any investigation.
So no one has told you that you're person 20?
I'm not under any current communication, or no one's talking to me, and no one's brought me in, so you would have to ask them.
I mean, have you ever accepted bribes?
Absolutely not.
Campaign contribution records that our reporting partners at Cal Matters compiled reveal Robert Tafoya, the city attorney who pleaded guilty to tax evasion and bribing person 20, donated at least $18,000 to Senator Rubio. Her campaign later returned $7,000. Now, Rubio's office stresses there is no case against Senator Rubio and no violation being investigated by the Senate or Assembly. But for now, the veteran senator is not listed as chair on any Senate committee, and Assembly Republicans have requested an ethics investigation. Meanwhile, the Insurance Committee is on hold amid a pending insurance crisis that has California looking to the Capitol for leadership.
Pro Tem McGuire's office has not responded to Julie's repeated interview requests. Capitol insiders tell CBS News they believe he plans to run for insurance commissioner at the end of his term. There's also speculation that he might appoint himself to the Senate insurance chair position. Up next, the 49ers will not be in the Super Bowl, but a pup named after a player is competing in this year's Puppy Bowl. We're going to introduce you to D-Bone Samuel.
want to show you one model real fast. All the way into Saturday morning we go. We start to see just a little bit of circulation with the system pushing offshore actually, with light rain up in the North Bay in the morning hours, some light showers sweeping to the south as we head into the overnight hours that night. So it's important to note that there are some changes as we head into this weekend with that cold front, but these showers aren't going to amount to much. If anything, just light sprinkles here and there, clearing up as we head into Sunday with those cool and cloudy skies, and then we'll ditch the clouds and we'll see sunnier skies as we head into next week. We'll keep you updated on that forecast here in the Weather Center.
Well, the 49ers may not be in the Super Bowl this year, but there's another big competition to look forward to, the Puppy Bowl. Reporter Ashley Williams visited the Sacramento SPCA to meet one of this year's contestants, well, named after a Niners star.
Well, you've likely heard of San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel. Well, what about D-Bone Samuel? That little puppy needs your vote. D-Bone Samuel for Puppy Bowl, most popular at this year's Puppy Bowl. The most adorable poodle mix, just under a year old. He's perfect. He really is. And again, needs your vote. Dawn Foster with the Sacramento SPCA. So good to see you.
So good to see you.
My goodness. Okay, so let's talk about this. Year 2 for you guys.
Year 2 for us. Yeah, so we're back again, and we're really trying to spread awareness about pet adoption from shelters, and these little puppies and Puppy Bowl give us a great platform to do that. But we really want to spread the word far and wide. So D-Bone here is in the most popular player competition, and we are behind on votes, or maybe we're tied right now. We have 2 more days to lock it in for this bracket, and then we start the race again next week.
All right, so how can people vote?
People can vote by going to puppybowl.com from every device all day long. So today and tomorrow, we need your votes for us from Sacramento, NorCal, California.
Yeah. So last year we had Bart Purdy. This year, of course, D-Bone Samuel. How cool is it just to know that we are on such a huge map?
Oh, this is great. The national audience to be able to shine a spotlight on pet adoption at shelters and puppies. You can find a variety of animals available at animal shelters, not only here in Sacramento, but across the nation. It's really a great opportunity just to have fun, come together as a community, and root for these kiddos.
Well, coming up, shining a spotlight on community heroes, Sharon Chin debuts our new Icon Award, honoring the people serving our community.
They help children create music with a social justice message. The magic of the Alphabet Rockers coming up.
outside today. There's a little bit of breezier conditions along our shoreline, but on the bright part, it dies down as we head into the afternoon. We're going to see light conditions throughout the afternoon and evening hours tonight, and then we turn the page into the next couple days. We're still expected to see drier than normal conditions, and we talked about this earlier. The Climate Prediction Center is showing that from Southern California down where the fires are at right now, all the way up into our neck of the woods in the Bay. But yet we head into Saturday's forecast, and as this cold front sweeps through heading into this weekend, you'll notice that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there's a slight chance we could see some showers starting up in the North Bay Saturday into the afternoon hours, and then all the way down into the South Bay closer to dinner time hours that night. That'll start to taper off as we head into early next week. But now, as you take a look at the next 7 days, you kind of can see that picture. Today, beautiful, dry, warm. But then once we head into Friday and Saturday and those clouds start rolling in, you can see that in each of these tubes, it's going to be a lot cooler for us and cloudier and a little bit wet at times too for Saturday. And then once we head into Sunday, we hold on tight to that cool weather before we start to average back out into the low 60s heading into early next week. Now we head all the way over into our inland spots, places like the East Bay, the North Bay, all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley. We still have sunshine this afternoon, but those clouds will also impact us too. Heading into Saturday and Sunday, there's those light showers, it clears up, and then we're left with beautiful skies.
Well, today we debut our new community service honor, the CBS News Bay Area Icon Award. Every week we recognize our heroes who do outstanding community service to make the Bay Area a better place to live. Sharon Chin introduces us to our very first Icon Award winners.
Be nice, be peace, be active.
Caitlin McGaw and Tommy Sulati Shepherd create music with a positive message.
Music is needed more than ever because music is what really is a healer.
Come with us, imagine a world without oppression.
The music industry professionals founded the Alphabet Rockers in 2007. Their Oakland-based program uses hip-hop to teach elementary school children the ABCs of social justice.
At first we were, rapping about vegetables and colors and nutrition and things. And after we started talking with these kids, we realized, there's actually more things to be talking about.
We were having these conversations with preschoolers. Why are people calling me this bad word? Why are they telling me what my identity is instead of listening to me when I tell them I have multiple cultures in my identity?
Just because you say we need equality too.
Caitlin and Tommy guide students to unleash their creative voice as they write songs about bullying, racism, and exclusion.
It's almost like big empathy work to create songs that frame a world of belonging.
These walls can't stop the love.
Alphabet Rockers leads dozens of workshops a year at Bay Area schools and community groups. Students feel empowered as they craft songs and poems and then perform them at concerts. 10-year-old Onyx Austin took part in the Alphabet Rockers' 6-month after-school program, Movement in Action, at the Destiny Arts Center. He says Tommy and Caitlin are like family, and he takes to heart the lessons they sing about.
Even though people are bullies sometimes, they have a tiny bit of good in them.
Fellow participant Matthew Bransford is proud of how he's grown as a songwriter and artist.
I have the courage to perform something big that I've made in front of my whole school.
The circle is a space to grow, connecting us to a collective glow.
And Caitlin, Tommy, and 3 of their young stars rocked the music world when they won a Grammy Award in 2023 for Best Children's Music Album. But the pair says the best is still to come.
Music changes culture, where every song we write is something that helps people through the day, that gives them tools to strategize, and that brings us together.
Alphabet Rockers is very community. We're going to expand our community to the globe.
We could just record that real quick.
So for empowering Alphabet Rockers to create music for social change, this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award goes to Tommy Sulati Shepherd and Caitlin McGaw.
Well, the Alphabet Rockers are sponsored by the nonprofit Sozo Impact. The workshops can cost $3,000 to $5,000, but the cost can be offset by donations and fundraising. Next, they are doing workshops in Oakland schools this spring. If you want to nominate a community hero for a CBS News Bay Area Icon Award, just go to kpix.com/icon. Well, thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. We'll be right back with your first alert forecast and a look at your top stories.